Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Derek McInnes misses Aberdeen training as Rangers continue their pursuit. Brendan Rodgers admits Celtic are miles away from Champions League quality. Martin Canning says Hamilton's gamble on David Templeton has paid off. Yeah, just a few of the things we'll be discussing tonight. Lots to talk about. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. I'm delighted on this Wednesday to welcome our bookroom guest, former Rangers and Scotland captain Barry Ferguson here with us. Let's have a look at the morning papers, dominated by a couple of things, which I don't think you'll be too surprised at. And first of them, Dell to quit Dons for Gers is in the Daily Record, and Eureka League at Celtic 0, Anderlecht 1 in their final match in the Champions League. Disappointment for Brendan Rodgers' side. And the Mail is access denied. The Dons say, no, you can't speak to Derek McInnes, and we're a long way behind, says Brendan Rodgers. OK, we will discuss Celtic's performance in their final Champions League tie a little later in the programme, but the red-hot issue is Rangers' pursuit of Derek McInnes. They finally made their move yesterday, and Aberdeen were quick to put out a statement saying, no, you can't speak to Derek McInnes. Ruffy, I wonder where it goes from here.
Yeah, well, it's obviously different from the Sunderland scenario when they did allow him to go down and chat, you know, but obviously we know how close Stuart Millen and Derek are. You know, they've been very close for the last 5 years. So I think, unfortunately, this one's going to turn a bit sour because the two of them got on very well with each other, and we just have to wait and see what Derek's next move is. Yeah, well, what we do know is he's been speaking to the chairman. Due to the fact that the relationship is locked tight, they'll be well aware. I would suggest to you right now, we're just involved in the game of chess, waiting for one move and another. Stuart Mill knows what's going to happen. Derek McInnes knows. There's got to be a bit of to-ing and fro-ing to save face, Barry.
Yep, I think everybody knows that Derek will be the Rangers manager now that they've made contact. I know, I mean, it's open knowledge that him and Stuart Millen have got a really good relationship. I don't think Derek would want that to sour in any way. So I think another day or two, I think you'll see Derek in the dugout on Saturday.
Yep, it's an interesting one. I think, rather disappointingly, everything that he's done at Aberdeen will be soured now because of the way this is going to have to unfold. I mean, the record on the back page there saying, you know, he's going to have to quit. If that's the case, it leaves a sour taste in the Aberdeen fans' mouths, and they will look, at him with disdain. They'll disregard everything that he's built there, and they'll start to look for a new manager themselves. Yeah.
And that's a shame, because since the time he's been there, there's no doubt about it. He's made them a better side. He's taken them to cup finals. He's taken them to second the league regularly. You know, playing good football, good players. And you're right, the relationship he's got with the owner and the fans is very, very good. But that's football, you know, that sometimes it does turn that way. But I'm sure Derek will get his head round it. Obviously, for the next year or so, something every time they play Aberdeen, there'll be a bit of banter going about there. But it's something you don't like to see, because when you've got two people who are very close together, you know, that I think I read somewhere that Stuart Millen said he would even let him run one of his companies. He thinks so much of him. So that just shows you how close they are. But football's football, you've got to move on.
Well, I will say Aberdeen have been good for Derek as well. They gave him the opportunity when they had a difficult time down at Bristol City. They gave him the opportunity to come back up here. And since he has come back up, don't forget, Aberdeen were struggling. They were down near the bottom end of the table. And he's obviously, in the last couple of years, as Ruffy said, he's got them to cup finals. He's made them the second force. So I do think he does deserve the chance to go now and manage Rangers, because I think anybody that knows him, Rangers is close to his heart. He was a successful player. He won a number of trophies. So I think the time is right now for Derek to go and get his chance at Rangers.
You've already been well documented on this programme, stating that Rangers haven't handled it well. it's dragged on to the point where I think they've left themselves wide open to criticism. And they've also left Derek a little wide open as well, because I get the sense that some Rangers fans don't want Derek McInnes.
Yeah, well, certainly after the last two results, I felt sorry for Derek. It must be a horrible situation to be in. I don't doubt that Derek's been professional throughout it. I think he's handled himself really well. But it must affect, because it's every single day in the newspapers, on the TV, on the radio, everybody's talking about Derek McInnes going to Rangers. So it must have been hard on him, and also the players as well. I know I've seen players come out in the media and say it doesn't affect them, but I will tell you, guys speaking in the dressing room, they'll be wondering, is the manager going, is the manager staying? But it's dragged on far too long for me. I'm just thinking if Rangers have waited, obviously, to after this double header to see if it would have affected Aberdeen. And I'm not saying it's affected the results. I think the last two Rangers games, Rangers have deserved to win the game for me, but it must have had an impact on the Aberdeen players, and certainly Derek as well.
Yeah, well, the Rangers players are faced with the situation where they're going to have to impress a new manager all over again, as Jason Holt mentioned. He's well up for that task, but has also enjoyed working under Graham Murty.
I think the whole squad have enjoyed working under Graham. You know, he's came and the least we can give his players 100% hard work, and that's what we've gave. As for a new manager, you know, I think everyone's playing to prove that they deserve to be in the team, and that's the case for any club. For him being involved in the first team in the future, again, I can't comment on that. It's not for me to decide.
Yeah, the big question now is if McInnes does indeed get the chance to make the move to Rangers, which we anticipate will happen over the next 24 hours, possibly drag on 48. Who knows, Ruffy, will he be in place for the weekend? Is Aberdeen, because the Aberdeen fans have been involved in this soap opera. Stuart Milne will have been digging his heels in. If Derek is forced to quit, he can then say, well, we tried everything. The manager decided he wanted to go. Now we have to look for a new manager. Now, already there are suggestions of Michael O'Neill, you know, and there'll be other candidates in there. I would suggest one to you that might be right out of left field. Do you think they'll quote Alex McLeish?
Yeah, obviously, the connection's there. I think Alex still got something to offer up there. But I think the important thing for Stuart Millen is he's got to keep the fans on board, because he's not going anywhere. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out over the next couple of days. Again, I think that shout will be up to Alex, because obviously that Scotland job's still available as well. Then it looks really fit for him as well. So if he is being spoken about, he's got a good choice to make. But I've just got a funny feeling with giving Derek the job, they might see another young up and coming manager who can take them forward. No names. No, there's a few out there.
Yeah, but trying to nail one of a calibre that I think would satisfy Stuart Milne.
I'm just trying to hide what I've wrote down there. I think they've got a perfect one. I think Ross Jack's done a tremendous job at someone. I think for me,
Jack Ross.
Jack Ross. Sorry, Ross Jack was the old player at
Dunfermline.
That's it.
I've made that mistake myself. Don't worry about it.
No, I think he's done a great job at St Mirren. He came in when they were virtually looking if they were going down to League One. He's come in, done a fantastic job. Everybody I speak to speak highly of him. Players that have played under him, ex-players. So he's one that I think Aberdeen would look at, similar to Derek. When Derek came up, I think Derek came up when he was 42, 43. I think he's the same age. So he's somebody that I think would be perfect fit for Aberdeen.
Yeah, I agree 100% with him on this. I think if you're looking at up-and-coming managers, you know, Barry's talking about the type of players. I'm talking about experienced players who've been guests on this programme, Ruffy, have come in and said, listen, he's got the qualities to address younger people and connect with them, and older people who've heard it all before. And he's impressed them. Jim Goodwin came on this show and said the exact same thing.
No, I don't think anybody that's come on the show has had any bad word about him. They think his man management, his coaching, everything is good. I just think, as far as he's concerned, has been first division. You know, I think they might look for somebody with a wee bit more experience. And I'm not saying the person I think it is, because a lot of people will fall out with me.
Yeah, who's that? Who?
Well, I'll go for Alan Archibald.
Aye, that's a good shout.
who I don't want him to leave, obviously, but he certainly has to be a candidate with what he's done in the Premier League, and he's been there. He's been there for a long time, and I know Partick Thistle won't want to lose him, but I see him in a sort of a Jackie McNamara mould, you know, that Dundee United went for him because, you know, he'd done so well with the club he was at. I'm only saying a candidate. I'm not saying he should get it. I'm just saying with the other people, I think it will be youth rather than experience.
Yeah, but do you not think sometimes fans start to look at the here and now and think, why are you going for a manager who's sitting at the bottom of the table? And I like Alan Archibald. I think he should be a candidate.
No, I think obviously you've got to look at everything that's on show. You can't get away from that, but I mean, the first thing you get hit with, we'll look at the budget he's working with compared to everybody else, and look at the way he survives every year. You know, look at he's got the ability to do that. But again, that's something that they'll have to decide.
Okay, coming up after the break, you know, you always like to talk about the manager, and then you know who his assistant will be. Well, maybe ask Barry if he's going to be a number 3. There was a great line. I'll give him the break to mull that over. We're also going to talk about Celtic and the Champions League. It was a disappointing night last night in the Champions League against Anderlecht. We'll hear from Brendan Rodgers and a number of the Celtic players after that 1-0 defeat. Nothing worse after the first break to give Ferguson the first point. He's high as a kite. He can't wipe the smile off his face. Let's try and wipe the smile off his face now and see if he's going to tell us if Derek McInnes got that job. And I mean, I looked at the headline, I thought, does 2 and 2 make 4, that you might be a number 3?
No, I was surprised. I woke up on Monday morning, I had numerous texts and missed calls. I don't know where it came from. I've not spoke to Derek, I've not spoke to Rangers, so for me it's there's a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, be great if he phoned you though, wouldn't it?
I knew that was coming. Listen, he's not got the job yet. I think he'll be a very good Rangers manager. We just need to wait and see. But as I said, I've not heard anything.
Yeah.
I don't know where that story came from, and that's it.
You got on well with him though, don't you? Well, I'm not.
He was obviously
he's
he's an ex-teammate.
Yeah.
I played with him obviously I was a young kid when he was playing in the first team, and I broke into the team when Derek was there.
Yeah.
So obviously I know him, and I think he's a very good manager. And I've said plenty of times on this show, I do think he's the right man for the Rangers job.
Yeah, it's just you've got to ask these questions, Robbie, because if I get a big job, you know, you'd expect to be, you know, you'd expect to be there with me.
Yeah.
You'd expect me to take you with me.
I'm just going to hang on for 6 weeks. See what happens.
See what happens. See if you.
It's not going to happen right away, is it?
You're a bad man, Ruffy. You're going to get in trouble. Okay, from Aberdeen and Rangers and the ongoing pursuit of the manager. Again, we will keep you right up to date with that. As far as the Champions League is concerned, Celtic lost to Anderlecht at home last night. I was at the game, Ruffy, and I have to say, first half, Celtic woeful. Second half, slightly better, made some changes to his credit, but they were off the pace, and Anderlecht fully deserved their win.
Yeah, you have to say it was a Borussia Mönchengladbach all over again. A team in possession, a team comfortable in possession, bags of pace, and I have to say I think Celtic were very fortunate they didn't have a striker. Because if it was a striker of the striking calibre of the Bayern or the Paris teams, they'd have been out.
Yeah.
Because the chances that were created were so easy. I mean, Celtic get cut open so easy, they just didn't have a striker to put the ball in the back of the net.
I don't even think they were as good as Borussia Mönchengladbach, Barry.
No, listen, they had some good players, Anderlecht, but I watched the game last night and I was really disappointed in Celtic, as you says, in the first half. I couldn't believe it. I don't know whether it was because there was a bit of pressure on them But you play in these sort of games, you've got to be able to handle that pressure, and that's why I was surprised at Celtic's performance in the first half. As you says, credit to Brendan Rodgers, he made a couple of changes at half time. That did make a difference. They were slightly better in the second half, but for me, Anderlecht deserved to win the game.
Yeah, and over and above that, I mean, we talk about players that that you actually, in number 10s, the boy Hanny. I mean, the 94, the captain of their team, Ruffy, he had the cigars out. He was literally like the conductor of the orchestra. He was picking passes that you only dream of.
Yeah, but how many times do we have to talk about? That there must be somebody that Celtic have played in Champions League or whatever European competitions identifying a player like that. I know, keep saying, these players cost money. I mean, I don't know how much he would cost, but there's certainly players out there who can pull the strings, and particularly in a good Celtic side, you would think that the scouting system would be able to identify somebody like that. But when you get somebody like that in, who are you sacrificing, and are you changing your formation? Because it seems to be a rigid formation that they play in Europe, and so I think we would all agree, and I think a lot of Celtic supporters would agree as well. It'd be love to see that kind of player playing in a Celtic side.
Yeah, I mean, he's 26, Barry. That's the type of player they need.
Yeah, but I watched the game last night, as I said, and when I was watching Anderlecht, they were 2-3 touch maximum. Celtic players were taking 5-6 touches. Technically, Anderlecht looked streets ahead of Celtic last night.
Yeah.
That's what surprised me. I never seen the game over in Anderlecht. I know Celtic won 3-0 convincingly, obviously result-wise. But I was technically, I thought Anderlecht were well in front of Celtic last night. And as you say, that guy, 94, he's only 26. What a player he was. He could handle the ball, 1 and 2 touch, excellent.
Take it in anywhere as well. That's what you call a midfielder. Of course, this is Brendan Rodgers, the Celtic manager's take on the game.
Like I say, they were brighter technically. The movement was sharper than ours, and of course they wanted to start the game fast. We wanted to start the game fast, but we didn't. And then, like I say, when you give the ball away as cheaply as what we did, too many times in the first half we got rid of the ball instead of passing it. So probably was a story for some of our players who maybe felt they are at this level, that they have a long way to go before they can call themselves players at this level.
Well, he didn't miss him there, did he?
No, and quite rightly so. I think if you're honest enough, you'll see that Celtic, the players that are playing for Celtic just now in the Champions League, are very naive in that style of football. A lot of them, and I don't want to bring wee boy Tierney into it, because I think he's obviously just starting off his career, and to get thrown into European football like that and coming up against quality wingers, and it's not his fault he doesn't come up against quality wingers day to day. He never comes up against that kind of calibre, and we've saw it, that they identify these positions, Lustig and Tierney, as opportunities to get in there to create chances, and I felt sorry for him again.
Yeah, I'm amazed you said that, Ruffy. I didn't think he was the main culprit.
No,
I mean,
I'm not saying he was a culprit. I'm just saying on the scale of the whole group, and the games that we've played in, he's a young lad who doesn't have that kind of competition. So when he goes into it, sometimes he just gets caught out. I'm not saying he is the culprit. I'm just saying there are occasions when he looks as if he's just a wee bit naive at that level.
Yeah, I thought over the piece, I thought Armstrong was surprisingly poor. He's better than what he displayed last night in the first half.
Yeah, I like Armstrong. He looked jaded to me. He looked tired last night. I don't know if the amount of games that Celtic have played over the last few months has caught up with maybe some of them. That might be an excuse of tiredness. But as I says, I'm used to Celtic going at teams when I watch them at Celtic Park. And the last Champions League game against Bayern Munich, I thought they were fantastic. And they never showed that last night. As I says, I don't know if it was a pressure to obviously to get into the Europa League after Christmas. I don't know. But listen, at the end of the day, they set a target. That was to play European football after Christmas, and they've got there. It's not the way they would have wanted to have got there with the performance last night. But listen, job done. They need to improve, certainly when they start Europa League in February.
Yeah, here's what some of the players had to say about the game.
We kind of got played our own game. We're a possession-based team. We try and press high up the park, and they let done that to us. And it was difficult to take. We weren't good enough on the ball tonight. We didn't keep it for long enough periods of time. Don't get me wrong, second half we created a couple of chances late on just because they were pressing quite high up the park. But overall, we're quite disappointed.
We have to be performing at the highest levels. If not at a club at this size, then you run the risk of being replaced. So we have to do as well as we can when we're given the opportunities in the big games to try and do as well as we can to make sure we're staying in the team.
I think first half we didn't really play. We didn't play football. We just kicked the ball and we didn't play like we used to. You have to keep the ball and create spaces. We didn't do that first half, and I think that's what was missing. In this kind of games, you can't really make mistake. You play against a big level of football, and when you have the ball, you have to keep it and make sure that you create spaces and you create chances for yourself. And when you have chances, you have to make sure you score.
We'll see what the draw brings. There are some big teams. We will have to play better, especially at home, to give ourselves the opportunity to win a knockout tie. And then defensively we'll have to be good on our travels. So we've still got I think I've got a lot to learn from this group and going forward and try and take that into the Europa League and do as well as we can.
Craig Gordon talking about looking towards the Europa League, but the gap between the Europa League and the Champions League was there for all to see, as Brendan Rodgers mentioned after the game as well.
It's always going to be, it'll become even more difficult for us next year. I think we just have to be realistic in terms of where everything is in terms of European football. We're a long way behind in relation to budgets and structures and other things at the very, very top level. But what we have to try and do is somehow bridge the gap. The club hadn't qualified for Champions League football for a few seasons, 3 odd seasons. Now these last couple of seasons we have qualified, which is brilliant for us. We want to then make the next step. So once we've qualified, okay, can we have European competition? Of course we want it to be Champions League, but we have to be realistic.
Yeah, didn't shirk it, Ruffy.
No, but you know me, I'm not agreeing with anything that he's saying. Particularly, that we all know there are teams out there are bigger than Celtic. There have been teams bigger than Celtic for the last 10 years, but a Celtic team has went out and competed and got results, against bigger sides than Anderlecht, Barcelona, Juventus, Milan. I just think it's a wee bit of an excuse.
More to come after the break. It's almost unbearable at the moment. Barry Ferguson scores a second point in the quiz. All we need now, Ruffy, is his phone to go, and he lands the Rangers number 3 job, and then it's just a nightmare, isn't it? And then he walks out of here with a salmon in his pocket. Anyway, that's a great thing about it. The main headlines from the first part of the show, of course. Aberdeen manager Derek McInnes refused permission to speak to Rangers. He's had a chat with his chairman. The content of that discussion will undoubtedly remain private as Rangers continue their pursuit of McInnes. Over and above that, Aberdeen may well be looking for a new manager. Could it be the likes of a Jack Ross, a Michael O'Neill, an Alex McLeish, someone else out of left field that maybe we haven't thought of, but Stuart Milne has been keeping a close eye on, as Ruffy suggested, maybe even an Alan Archibald. All these questions will be answered and become clearer over the next few days, I'm almost certain. Celtic fans licking their wins, yet another defeat at home. Brendan Rodgers says some of the players are a long way off Champions League quality, and of course some of the stories with regards to Celtic and their pursuit of other players, which they undoubtedly will be looking to buy, because the Europa League draw, Celtic will be unseeded among the 32 teams, Ruffy. That is something else that may be a worry.
Yeah, I think you get a chance to look at the teams who have now dropped in there. You know, you've got Atletico Madrid, you know, big sides, and but again, you want a challenge. You want to, you know, see what you can do, and you can only do it against the best sides, and it always brings out the best in your players. So I think again it'll be good viewing on Monday. You know, once we see the final 32 that's there.
Yeah, do you expect Celtic to go, you know, any great length in the Champions League, the Europa League? Do they need to be lucky, or is it just the fact that you're not happy with Brendan Rodgers and what he's doing at Celtic at the moment?
No, obviously, I think you've got to look at the opposition you get. You know, and I think the biggest question is, in a two-legged affair, have Celtic gained anything from playing the big sides away from home? Can they change their side to be, you know, sometimes you see when you go away, you've got to have the mentality to go for a nothing each.
Yeah. Do you think the manager needs to change then, Ruffy?
I think he will change eventually. I think he'll know now it's a two-legged affair. It changes dramatically, you know, because obviously it depends on what kind of score you get in the first leg and whether it's at home or whether it's away. And then you have to change your formation. You might have to protect something, or you might have to go for it. So these are questions you don't know until it happens. I just feel the evidence last night, it was disappointing. It was disappointing for everybody, you know, because in the face of beating them 3-0 over there and them coming over here, Brendan said he wanted to progress, he wanted to send the fans away happy and blah blah blah, and it never happened.
Yeah, Celtic fans are hanging on his every word at the moment, Ruffy. Yeah. You're not buying into him, are you?
No, the only thing I don't buy into is I don't like this comparison, because Celtic never ever, and I can remember when Neil Lennon was there, Martin O'Neill was there, nobody ever went into a press conference and said, look, we can't compete with this team, you know, so far ahead.
Maybe the gap wasn't as big.
Well, I think this gap is now materialised because it's Paris that are spending 100 million, 200 million. You know, there must have been a gap. Would you say there was a gap when Celtic went and played Milan in '67? Would you say they were a far better team, bigger resources than Celtic then?
No, because I think it's
I would
love for you to have come up with the right comparison there. Well, but unfortunately, 1967 Scottish football. Hold on. Let me finish before you butt in. Scottish football was strong in Europe in 1967. Rangers reached the Cup Winners' Cup final and lost 2-1 to Bayern Munich. Celtic won it. Kilmarnock got to the later stages, the latter stages of the Fairs Cup as well. So not a good comparison. Had you said maybe...
Well, let me move it on to the comparison you made, the Celtic-Barcelona game with the Celtic players that played that night.
Yeah, well, I'll be brutal about it. I think the manager needs to... I think the manager, until he gets the players that are capable of executing the way he wants to play, I think the manager needs to be a little bit more negative in how he deals with teams away from home, Barry, because unless he gets unless he gets players to play two really dominant centre halves, a number 10, you know, someone that he thinks can hold the ball in very difficult areas and build that team around. Unless he gets that, you can't ask players to do what they're not capable of doing. It's a great Jock Stein ethos.
Yeah, I agree that he's got to change. Champions League, when you're at home, go for teams. Because when you come to places like Celtic Park, and when I played with Rangers, they came to Ibrox. No matter who it was, Barcelona, whoever, big, massive name teams, we fancied their chances. We went away from home, we knew that we had to be compact and have 10 men behind the ball. That's the way we played, and it wasn't great to watch, but you know what? It got us a point sometimes, and maybe we get defeated but with the odd goal, but we never get an absolute pounding.
But I followed you guys all the way through, commentating on every game in your UEFA Cup run in 2008. Now, at times, I mean, you were lucky you got out of your own half in Bremen, but at the end of the day, the job was done.
No, you're right. At times, I think you're lucky if I touched the ball 5 times in 90 minutes. But do you know what? We knew when we got teams to Ibrox, we would have a go. When we went away from home, we knew that we had to sit in and be compact and be difficult to beat. And I think that's what Celtic need to do when they go away from home. Because it's not great when you see teams hammering 5, 6 goals, 7 goals past you. It's not good. I think he does now know that he might need to change the way he plays away from home, but at home you expect Celtic to go for teams.
Yep, okay. It's something you might want to give us your thoughts on at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Who do you think should be the next manager at Aberdeen if indeed the Dons do lose Derek McInnes to Rangers? All sorts of things to talk about. Give us your thoughts on that. I'm going to switch our attention to the results in the Champions League from last night, just to get your thoughts, guys, on the other fixtures, because as well as Celtic playing against Anderlecht, Bayern Munich had a 3-1 win over Paris Saint-Germain. It was a good win for Manchester United against CSKA Moscow ahead of their big game at home at Old Trafford against Manchester City. And FC Basel with a win away in Portugal against Benfica. And Chelsea with that 1-1 draw, they were already through anyway with Atletico Madrid. Roma beat Karabakh, and Barcelona were able to see off Sporting Lisbon and Juventus, as you would expect. Too strong for Olympiacos. Was there anything that caught your eye, Ruffy?
Atletico Madrid, obviously dropping out. You know, they've been a big side in the Champions League. And I listened to Chelsea. He was disappointed with the performance. I think the big teams know the importance of being number one in your group, because obviously you get a wee bit of an easier tie. So he'll be disappointed with that. But no, I think there's more and bigger games tonight as well. Yeah, I think Celtic will be anticipating looking at the results to see who else is going to drop into the Europa Cup, because there are a lot of big sides still left.
Basel getting through into the last 16. I think that's great for them. We'll go back talking about size of clubs. Celtic are a bigger club than Basel for me. Benfica, massive club. CSKA Moscow spend a lot of money, so that was great for them to get through into the last 16.
Yep, just take a quick look. Some of these games will have kicked off already. Here's the games from the Wednesday night. And it's Liverpool, Spartak Moscow, Maribor, Seville, Feyenoord against Napoli, Shakhtar Donetsk against Manchester City, Porto, Monaco, Leipzig, Besiktas, Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund. That's an absolute cracker. And Tottenham against Apoel Nicosia. So from the Champions League, let's switch our attention now to manager and player of the month. A double for Hamilton Accies, no less, Ruffy. Martin Canning and David Templeton. What about that? I mean, absolutely magnificent just to see Templeton there with the award, and of course Martin Canning as well. This is what the boss had to say about that award.
It was a little bit of a risk, given the fact that he hadn't played football in a long time, but I think Ronnie met him. I met him as well for a coffee before he signed, and straight away in meeting him you could tell he was focused, you could tell he was desperate for another opportunity to get back playing again. And thankfully for us and for Temps, the gamble for us has paid off, if you like, if you look at it that way, and for Temps he's got himself back up to playing at a high level again and back scoring goals in the Premier League.
Yeah, Martin Canning deserves tremendous credit, Ruffy, because he took a gamble on David Templeton. Maybe not his ability, maybe the fact that he wasn't playing football for such a long time.
Yeah, I think David Templeton, if you think back to the times when he was at Hearts, you could see why Rangers went for him. You know, he was exciting to watch. Unfortunately, I think he came into the calibre of a player coming from another club and just not being able to settle at a massive club, you know, and then he picked up injuries. So it was a shame that he was out of the game for a wee while there, but he's came back and he showed everybody the ability that he's got.
Here's what David Templeton made of the award.
Yeah, it was difficult. I think I went 10 months not playing football, so yeah, it was difficult sitting in the house trying to go to the gym myself and not being in and around a team, the banter with the boys, everything. So it's just nice to have that feeling again, and more importantly, the feeling of playing football. I think when I got back, I knew I had enough ability to get myself there. It was just trying to get fit enough to get to that level, and thankfully the gaffer took a big chance on me, and I think it's working out now.
He's always had the talent, Barry.
Yep. I really liked him at Hearts. I was excited when Rangers signed him. It never worked out. He had a lot of injury problems, and I think he was out of the game for about a year. I'd seen Edinburgh City were trying to sign him. So fair play to Hamilton. They've took a chance on him, and for me, very good player.
Okay, one more question to go. Can Barry Ferguson get the hat-trick? He would have been unbearable, Ruffy, with a hat-trick, wouldn't he?
But I'm quite happy that Lyndon B. Johnson was the president there of America that year.
I'm not going to get involved with you. I'm not going to get involved because, honestly, you are like a kid when it comes to, you know, Ruffy's not happy at the previous question because he wasn't happy about Lyndon B. Johnson still being the president. It's a long-winded thing. If I had to explain it to you, you'd think, how do you hang about with him? Anyway, I'm going to talk about your old club as well, Ruffy, Hibs, because you've been bleating on about Hibs, if they can get McGregor back, if they can get Liam Fontaine back, they'll be looking good. Well, Liam Fontaine is back fighting fit as well. I think that's great news for the Hibbies.
Yeah, it certainly is, you know, but this big game coming up at the weekend is a massive game. If Neil's got any hopes of being in that second or third place, this is the kind of games that they stamp their authority. If they were to do, obviously, what nobody else can do, you know, then everybody at Hibs will be singing for the same hymn sheet, and it'll be a massive result. But we've saw Celtic have come back off European ties. You've got players that he'll rotate and bring in, so it's a massive game. A big, probably one of Hibs' biggest games for a long while.
Yeah, I like Fontaine because he's got a nice left peg on him as well, but I think they two are a good partnership. Those two, I beg your pardon, in McGregor and Fontaine.
Yep, I like both of them. I really like Dan McGregor. I liked him at Rangers. I'm surprised they let him go. For me, he's done an excellent job at Hibs. And they've also got another two good centre-backs, Hanlon and Ambrose have done well of late. So, good competition at Hibs. They've got a good squad. Neil Lennon's got a right good squad there. A lot of very good players. So, they'll be looking to try and get that second place because they're a good team.
Yeah, somebody's got to stop this run, Barry. Are they, are Hibs one of the teams that you think?
Yep, certainly Easter Road. I think they can. I think there's a chance. I mean, it's a phenomenal run Celtic have been on. Let's not kid ourselves on. But I think Hibs, if anybody's got to do it, Hibs have got a right good chance on Sunday.
Yep. Okay. Another just on that basis, because we'll not see you for the next couple of days, because obviously you'll be getting your old Rangers tracksuit out. I'm winding you up. Calm down, will you? Do you think Hibs are going to do it then?
Yep. I think Hibs will nick it.
Yeah.
Yep.
2-1.
I'm not sure on the result, but I think Hibs will get a positive result and will win the game.
What about that, Ruffy?
Fantastic.
Do you think? Do you agree with them?
Well, I'm actually the Hall of Fame guest on Sunday. I'll be on the park, so I'm going for a one each draw.
You're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
I spotted, and I thought it was a great thing. I spotted the actual wall with the Hall of Fame pictures on it, and I you know, there was one of the players there two players there that I particularly, you know, I say love. I just think they're great players and brilliant people. Alec Cropley and Pat Stanton. Magic to see them there.
Well, I was fortunate enough to be there as Pat when was the manager, and what a gentleman. And as Barry will tell you, when you get a manager like that, you really, really want to win for him. And I think all the players were singing for the same hymn sheet because he was fantastic. And wee Rookie. Wee Rookie was his right-hand man, and great to be about the dressing room. Yeah,
so 1-1 for you then?
Yes.
And also the McGinn, he was missing last week through suspension, so he's still to come back in.
Yeah.
I like Hibs. I just like the team he's got there. As you says, now he's got McGregor and Fontaine coming back as well. He's got a decent squad, strong squad, so I think they might end Celtic's run, or will end Celtic's run. I've got to be positive.
Let me just remind you. You might think you're positive. There are fans out there throwing things at the telly. You're negative.
There'll be a headline now. This will be Peter's headline. Rangers number 3. Celtic to be beat at weekend.
Listen, I'm just being honest, giving my opinion about Hibs. What I think.
No, you don't need to explain
listen,
yourself.
I've seen Hibs enough times to have a good opinion on them in terms of what I think of them. They've got some fantastic players. We've spoke plenty of times about their midfield 3 for me are up there with the best in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Good stuff there. Brady, that's good. Okay. And of course, the across the other end of the city, Ruffy, Arnow Gym his scan results have been revealed as well. So better news for Hearts with regards to key players that I think can make a difference with Hearts. The knee injury is obviously maybe not as bad as first feared, but nevertheless they need players of his quality in there to do what Craig Levine's been preaching that he's going to do.
I mean, he is a key player. He's the kind of player that can get into the box and create and possibly get you a goal. I don't think he's hit the heady heights as what he last year. You know, I think he was all over the place last year. I think he's like a lot of the Hearts players just now, just suffering for a wee bit of confidence. So yeah, if they start winning games, obviously they'll all get their form back again.
Yep, let's hope the injury's not as bad as first feared for Jim. Now, negative thing, some stories I think we deal with on the programme, not good to actually report. Falkirk's Joe McKee has been handed a 4-match ban after being found guilty of taunting Dunfermline's Dean Shields over his missing eye. Again, this one, along with his teammate Kevin O'Hara, who'd been handed an 8-match ban, it's just something I'd like to stamp out. I think, you know, for me personally, I think the two players should be made to go and apologise to the player. That's me personally. I don't know if that's extreme, but I think it's bang out of order with both of them.
Peter, I would like to think that the two of them have. You know, I think the two of them should realise, you know, their misdemeanour, and we all know how bad it was. So I think it would only be right and proper. Take your punishment, and it's a punishment, as I keep saying on numerous occasions, punish people severely, and it'll stop other people doing it. And I think these two punishments, the 8 games and the 4 games, people are saying, oh, it's too much. And it isn't too much, because we need to cut out things like that.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, trying to put people off their game or annoying them or having a bit of needle because of things is one thing, but I think there's a line where you go into the gutter.
I don't mind things going on in the pitch, as you say, is having a go at each other, but they crossed the line and they deserve that punishment. What they says to Dean Shields is bang out order, and they deserve the 8-game and the 4-game punishment for me. It's not right, it shouldn't happen.
Yep, I can't argue with you on that, Barry. Listen, we've been talking about all sorts of managers going to clubs, whether it be north or south of the border. Scotland have been very much put on the back burner with this, their pursuit of Michael O'Neill. This has got to be resolved sooner rather than later. I know Stuart Regan is obviously going to hold talks with Michael O'Neill and try and get this over the line. How important is it that he gets it done quickly, gets an answer before some other clubs might?
Well, that's what I'm going to say. I think it's encouraging that in the space that we've been waiting, that these other posts have been filled, obviously West Brom, and jobs that he was identifying with. But for me, we still don't know what Michael O'Neill wants to be. We don't know whether he wants to be a club manager or whether he wants to be a national manager. And I think that will come out, obviously, in the interview, you know, with obviously in the discussion. If he really, really wants to still be a national manager, that might be the perfect fit for him. Maybe he thinks family-wise and everything, that's the remit he likes. Maybe he looks at club football and I think somebody said club football's got, what, 12 months of any club, you know, and you're out the door. So maybe he's comfortable in that national environment.
Yeah, but the one key element here, and it's all about timing, it's all playing beautifully into his hands, because they may well have to fork out the amount of money that makes him the highest Scotland manager ever to get him.
Yeah, listen, I've got a lot of time. The job he's done over there has been fantastic, but I'll go back, I'm pretty old school. I'd like to see a Scotsman. I've said a number of times. Listen, I wouldn't be disappointed if it's Michael O'Neill, because I think he's a terrific manager. But I would like somebody like Paul Lambert, as I've mentioned before.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be disappointed with Michael O'Neill. Of course, he's a good manager.
Yeah, the remit, quite simply, Ruffy, is you know, get the manager in place. Got a few months to go and assess the players. There are a few good players, young players that might emerge that might do him a right turn as well. Just get us to a major tournament.
Yeah, and I have to say that I think the next manager, I mean, we say every time there's a new tournament, this looks like an easier opportunity to qualify with this Nations Cup. So whoever goes in there, it might find it that wee bit easy. It's always hard, obviously, at the end of the day when you've never been there for a long time. But with the space of the duration of the tournament and the young players that you've just spoke about there, they'll obviously get more and more experience as the competition goes on. So this might be the competition we get there.
Yeah, I always like to put 2 and 2 together and make 5, Ruffy. Dele Alli has joined the same agency that represents Ronaldo, Mourinho and Harry Kane. Does that mean he's on the move?
As we all know, money talks. You know, if you start getting up into 100 million, you know, it's a difficult one to turn down. You know, I think that there's still something going to happen in January. Obviously, we're talking about Mourinho. You know, nobody what's the Liverpool boy? Coutinho.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what kind of money we're talking about there.
Okay, Ruffy knew it ended in a no. He just couldn't get it in the end. Everybody needs a little bit of a helping hand. We've done our best to try and get Barry that 3rd place at Rangers. Will he be with us next Wednesday? Will he be wearing a tracksuit? Will he not appear for our training? Who knows? Tomorrow we might be talking about Derek McInnes, the Rangers manager. Then again, maybe not. From Barry Ferguson, from Ruffy and myself. Good night.